back. America, I think we're in a bit of a pickle. Something is going down. Do you get the feeling, as I do, that we're all going through this together? Yes, we're quarantined, self-quarantine. We're all making great sacrifices. Most definitely workers who work in the service industry who are just floating away right now. They're not surviving. They're not able to buy food. They were living paycheck to paycheck. And then all of a sudden, nothing. Zilch. Dada. Some don't have family to help them. No support system. What do? I don't know. We got to pray for them. I'm concerned for our country. I think the government is rightfully concerned for our health, what with this new virus. But I'm concerned because in our cooperation, in our trying to do what's best for everyone, we are allowing our rights to be eroded. Little by little, step by step, day by day. And that's no joke. LA is a microcosm of what's going on in general in this country. So is New York. What they're doing right this moment doesn't affect Texas, but eventually it will. It always does. So the mistakes that they are making there in LA, we try not to make them here in Texas. I'm in Central Texas, and it's beautiful here. And I do not want our government to muck it up like they do in California, because that's ridiculous. I think we have to be on guard and not allow any liberal anywhere to be in any form of government in the state of Texas. We shouldn't let a liberal be a dog catcher in this state. They are dangerous, and they destroy everything they touch. They destroy churches. They destroy football. They destroy marriage. Everything that the Democratic Party and its leftist followers do is about destruction and death. And we have to guard against it. We have to not allow it here in the state of Texas. Now, I know all of you aren't probably Texans or even live in Texas. But if you're in middle America, you know it's coming. And this is something we all have to fight. As it's happening, we cooperate. I don't want anybody to get sick. I don't want me to get sick. I don't want my family to get sick. The Chinese government allowed this coronavirus to spread throughout the world, and now they're actually profiting from it. Now, Spain is ordering more masks, more equipment from China. Oh, quelle surprise. You think they didn't know that was going to happen? I find this all very suspicious because the Chinese government is not beyond killing a few of their own so as not to make them look like the evil, diabolical system of government that they are. And that's just the fact. It wasn't too long ago where they were killing babies even after birth. I watched a movie or documentary movie on Netflix called The One Child Nation. And I couldn't sit through the whole thing. I had to stop it twice and just walk away and do something else. Because watching how the country became more and more calloused to human life was devastating to me and to my psyche. I don't know how to hear these women tell the stories of how they used to be the aborters, how they used to be the person to sterilize women. One woman talked about how she did that and then she felt guilty years later. She said she may have aborted more than 6,000 babies, probably more than that, she said. But when they changed their law, I don't know how much they changed it, but when they changed their law to allow women to have children, she felt guilty and she realized the error of her ways. And so she began to consult couples who were infertile to help them have a baby. But if you haven't seen that and understand the brutality of how the Chinese government treats its own people, then if you haven't seen that, I think you should. Or you don't have a good feeling for it, just take my word for it. Because they are horrendous to their own people. So why do you think they treat us any better? They have no reason to treat us better. They just want our money. They want everybody's money. And they definitely want our freedoms taken away from us. Because that's all we've got in the end. If we don't have our lives because of abortion, so freedom is the next thing to go. A lot of our freedoms. There was a pastor who allowed his church, they had a church service during the shutdown, and he was arrested for it. And my first reaction was, oh my gosh, why would they want to gather together now and maybe everybody gets sick? Of course, they want to worship, but is that really smart? But even with that, I have to say, it's scary to think that he can be arrested for it. Freedom of assembly, freedom of religion. If those people wanted to go and worship, even at the threat of their very own health and lives, that is completely their business. It's completely their business. More so than it is for a woman to abort a child who said, oh, my body, my this, whatever. But that's their business. That's their faith. I mean, are we checking on the Amish? Are we checking on all of these other faiths? Or is it just general Christianity that's being shut down? Mayor Bill de Blasio threatened that if anybody, especially churches, didn't abide by the new rules that he laid down for the city of New York, they may face permanent shutdown, not just a fine or a fee, permanent shutdown. Where does he get off? Where is our Constitution? Did he ever read it? Does he realize what he's doing? I think he does. I think he wants to erode our rights. That is why people were buying guns and still are in some places. That is why what I saw that they were thinking about closing the gun stores in California, I immediately went to our safe to make sure we had sufficient ammo. Because what happens in California eventually happens everywhere else. As stupid as they are, the government, I mean, not the people of California, because I was once the people of California. I lived there for 26 years. But the government of California, which is basically chosen by the liberals because they outnumber the conservatives in California. So I don't like to say generalities about the people of California because my good friends that are still there are very conservative and very concerned. And I wish if they didn't have such nice homes and ranches, I would say, you know what, sell that and come to Texas. I would. But they have an invested interest. They have businesses. They have family. They can't just pick up and leave all the time. Some people can, and many people do. But my heart is breaking for them because they live under these horrendous conditions. And their rights are being taken away little by little, step by step, inch by inch. And as I always say, if you give a liberal an inch, they take a mile every time, especially with the law. It goes without saying. And what I'm concerned about also is that we get so comfortable with these particular laws and new rules. And I'm wondering if it will breed some sort of reliance in us even on what we are told on TV. Because that's how we're getting our information, on the internet and on the TV. And we know how they lean. They lean left. So are we relying on them to tell us what to do, where to go, when we can go, when we can't go? There are now curfews. There are now businesses that are shut down, that are going broke, and families are going without food in the United States of America. The government gets to decide which businesses are essential. So you can't go get a haircut. You can't even go to a dentist. I guess you could find an emergency dental situation. I don't know. I haven't gotten a toothache. So I wonder, what do people do when they get a toothache? Do they just grin and bear it, so to speak? I don't know. But we are in a special time in our history. We will remember these times. But will we be able to remember the rights we had? Or will they be gone? Something I never thought would happen in these United States of America. A couple weeks ago, they said wearing masks for the average person wouldn't do you any good. So they said, don't wear masks. You don't need them. Only save them for the professional medical people so that they'll have an abundance of it. This week, they changed their mind. In fact, on The View, Meghan McCain, pregnant Meghan McCain, she's in isolation with her husband. And she said that when they said that a week or two ago that we wouldn't need these masks, she donated all of her masks, I think to a hospital or something. She had some at home. Now she has none, and they're saying maybe it could help. Definitely helps people from touching their face. It definitely does that. And yes, sometimes there are spores of the virus in the air. Very rarely, because it doesn't last very long in the air. But if someone were to sneeze or cough on you, not on purpose necessarily, but you don't know when that kind of thing could happen, then very easily you could contract. They say the best way, 100% way of preventing getting this virus is to not touch your face. That's what they're saying. That was yesterday. Next week, we'll talk. So I think we take every precaution that we have using our common sense and do something to protect ourselves and guard your money, your house, your cars, because right now they are letting prisoners out of prison. They say the nonviolent ones, but there's a fine line with that, because a lot of them become violent once they're in prison or they grew up in a violent atmosphere, which is how they got there. But they're letting them out at the same time as they're telling us to stay in our homes. And another concern that we really have to be careful of and keep an eye over our shoulders is not only those criminals, but those who sell illegal drugs, the cartels, and I don't know, I watch a lot of movies, but they do exist. And these businesses that sell 95% of all illicit drugs come through the Mexican border. They're taking a hit right now because even the Mexican government, which is half-assed anyway, but even the Mexican government is guarding their borders now. And everybody's guarding their borders now. Nobody's calling them racist. So the people who are allergic, I'm so sorry. The people who are addicted to drugs, cocaine, crack cocaine, crystal meth, painkillers with fentanyl in them, all of these things that are coming through our borders, crack. I don't know all the drug names. I don't, but they're coming through that border. And if that stops, then that means that there's not going to be a good supply for the average addict, which means they're going to be going through withdrawal and they're going to be going through a period of desperation. And as I know for a fact, when addicts go through a period of desperation, people get hurt. They will steal from you, just like you see on TV in San Francisco. They will break into your car if you leave your phone in the car. They will do desperate things because these are desperate times for them. They can't get a hold of their drugs. And when they can, they're going to be at a higher price than they ever were. I'm just speculating because I don't know about the drug world. But I'm speculating that the price would go up because it's harder to get out of the house. It's harder to get these things over the border. And if there's a shortage and the price goes up, then the addicts will be out in force and they're not going to obey laws. Criminals don't obey laws. I don't understand why they want to make